Hey, Washington Commanders fans. Get ready for a bombshell that's going to shake the foundations of our team and leave you speechless. We discovered the secret and brutal message that Coach Dan Quinn delivered to the team before our crucial victory against the Giants, a message that demanded strength and courage. But it doesn't stop there, because we have a disappointing yet necessary decision about the future of Jaden Daniels this season, and a deep analysis of how our victory directly impacted the 2026 NFL draft order, potentially changing the front office's plans completely. Stay tuned until the end to unravel all these mysteries and understand what's really at stake for the Commanders. The Washington Commanders emerged from Week 15 with a 29-21 victory in hand after defeating the New York Giants, achieving their second consecutive win over the division rival under Coach Dan Quinn's leadership. This victory was an immense relief for all of us fans who were thirsty for a positive result. Even more importantly, the Commanders put behind them their streak of 8 consecutive losses, a heavy burden that we finally managed to unload, so the Giants could carry that weight with them. It's always great to see the team bounce back and show that they have the capability to overcome adversity, even in such a challenging season. But more important than either of those things is the fact that, despite everything that went wrong for Washington football in 2025, one thing continues to go right: the culture and belief within the organization that they are on the right path, even if it has become a bit shaky during this period. This gives us hope for the future. And the message from Coach Dan Quinn before the game was something that really resonated with the team. Linebacker Jordan Magee shared with the press after the game, Quinn's message today was, "It snowed earlier, so we wanted to see blood on the snow. We wanted violence, that's what we wanted." A strong statement that shows the intensity he expected from the players. Magee continued, "So we went out there and played the way we wanted to. We created turnovers, recovered the ball, and executed our game." In other words, that was how the Commanders wanted to play, and that's how they played, at least on defense, showing an aggressive and determined attitude that filled us with pride. This message was reinforced by a visual representation of the choice of violence on a chilly day in New Jersey, with linebacker Frankie Louvu among those who opted to warm up shirtless. He showed his opponents and teammates that the cold wouldn't stop them from fulfilling their mission, an attitude that inspires and motivates. Louvu explained his decision. "Man, before the game, going back to Washington State, back in Pullman, when you start falling in love with playing football and you're there, the weather in Pullman, Washington was kind of negative. So I thought, man, why not bring that energy back for my first time when I still love football, and I still do. You know what I mean?" He concluded, "So it was just a little change, and it wasn't that bad." Listen, folks, we were on the field while Louvu was warming up shirtless, wearing jackets and beanies. It was that bad. But sometimes you need to put yourself in an overcoming mindset instead of fighting against adversity, and Louvu did just that. Knowing there was no cozier press box waiting for him, Louvu decided to face the cold head-on and embrace the idea of blood in the snow to break an 8-game losing streak. That kind of leadership and sacrifice is what we expect from a player who wears our uniform, and he gave it his all on the field. Washington did exactly that, with a dominant first-half attack, a suffocating defense, and crucial plays on special teams. The interception and 55-yard return by cornerback Mike Sainristil turned the game around at a decisive moment, gave the offense the opportunity to extend the lead, highlighting the importance of every detail. Veteran cornerback Antonio Hamilton not only stepped into the starting lineup, he shined, being heavily targeted and making decisive plays when he had the chance. It's always good to see an experienced player stand out and prove his worth in crucial moments, contributing to the team's victory. And the pressure on the opposing quarterback, led by Louvu and others, kept New York Giants rookie Jackson Dart on the defensive throughout the game. Despite this, the linebacker claims to see something special in Dart, which shows the respect between players, even amidst the intensity of competition. At the end of the game, the offense got a bit disorganized, giving the Giants opportunities to get back into the game, but the defense managed to assert itself and prevent that from happening. In a season that culminated with the firing of defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr., this is very significant, as it demonstrates what could have been and what still can be. For Magee, this is what should happen, and what he wants to see himself and his teammates doing repeatedly as long as 2025 allows. That's our job, he says. That's what we're paid for, to get the ball back, force turnovers, and that's what we did. We went out there and had to impose ourselves and make the play. And now, brace yourself for a piece of news that, although expected, leaves us with mixed feelings. The Commanders reached a disappointing but necessary decision about the future of Jaden Daniels this season. It is a measure to protect our quarterback of the future, but it leaves us with a void on the field. The Washington Commanders will not utilize quarterback Jaden Daniels for the rest of the season. Daniels left the Week 14 game against the Minnesota Vikings after aggravating his elbow injury and did not play in Week 15 against the New York Giants. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn explained the reason for the decision, and we understand the concern for our star's health. As of now, he wasn't fully cleared to play. So, just like last week, we wouldn't have all the results until the end of the week, and then we have a short week next week with the Christmas game. So, we believe this decision will allow him to enjoy the upcoming weeks in a different way. Quinn continued, "He wants to practice, and he will practice. He also wants to support Marcus Mariota in the way that Marcus demonstrated and helped him, and I found that significant. We all know that the best way to evolve is during games, but since this isn't the best way for us, there are many other ways for him to learn in the next 3 weeks, and he will also learn from this perspective. Daniels will go to the bench for the rest of the season, and while it was a difficult conclusion for the Commanders, it is the right one. Daniels represents the future of the franchise, and 1 or 2 more injuries in an already lost season wouldn't do justice to the Commanders' quarterback. We need to protect him for the long term. Daniels is a natural competitor, so he wants to play if he's healthy, and we know that. But at this moment, the important thing is to preserve his health for the preseason and for the future, ensuring that he returns 100% for the next season, ready to lead us to great achievements. The Commanders will have Marcus Mariota leading the offense to face the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 16. The game is scheduled for Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time at Northwest Stadium. This is Mariota's chance to prove his worth and lead the team in these final games, while Daniels recovers and prepares for the future. And now, let's celebrate a victory that has brought us immense relief and broken a seemingly endless losing streak. The Commanders secured their first victory since October 5th, defeating the Giants 29-21, and that feeling of triumph is something we have long been missing. Marcus Mariota emerged from the Washington Commanders locker room on Sunday with a feeling he had been lacking for over 2 months, the feeling of victory. Washington snapped an 8-game losing streak by beating the New York Giants 29-21, achieving their first win since October 5th, and inflicting New York with their 8th straight loss. The Commanders improved their record to 4-10, bouncing back a week after being shut out in Minnesota with timely big plays and a sufficient offense. The Giants fell to 2-12, remaining winless since October 9th, and inching closer to the top of the 2025 draft order, highlighting the importance of our victory. With Jaden Daniels sidelined after aggravating an elbow injury, Mariota stepped onto the field and made the decisive play of the game early in the fourth quarter, connecting on a 51-yard pass to Terry McLaurin that resulted in a touchdown and sealed the win. Mariota finished with 10 completions on 19 attempts for 201 yards and a fumble. Jackery Krosky-Merritt led the rushing attack with 96 yards and a touchdown, showcasing the strength of our ground game. Washington also leaned on special teams, with rookie Jalen Lane electrifying the sidelines with a 63-yard punt return touchdown, a spark that helped shift the momentum of the game after a slow start. The Commanders' defense did its part, limiting New York's offense at crucial moments and putting pressure on the opponent throughout the game. Von Miller sacked rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, raising his career total to 136.5 sacks and surpassing Jared Allen, taking the 12th spot on the NFL's all-time list. It's a historic achievement for our veteran. Dart completed 20 of 36 passes for 246 yards, with touchdowns to Tyrone Tracy and Wan'Dale Robinson, but a crucial interception thwarted a potential comeback. The Giants showed flashes of talent, but were unable to string together enough plays to break the losing streak, handing us the long-awaited victory. In the middle of the fourth quarter, Dart was taken to the sidelines and sent to the blue medical tent for a concussion evaluation after taking a hard hit during a scripted play. He missed 2 plays before being cleared to return, demonstrating the resilience of the players on the field. The weather conditions, with cold, wind, and snow, heightened the challenge, but Washington displayed enough resilience to finally overcome the difficulty after weeks of frustration. It is a victory that gives us a breath of fresh air and shows that the team has the capacity to fight until the end, even in a tough year. And now, my friends, let's talk about something that could completely change our team's future. The Commanders' victory in Week 15 against the Giants impacted the 2026 NFL draft order, and the management's plans may shift because of this. It's a double-edged sword, but it makes us reflect on the team's priorities. The Washington Commanders finally broke their 8-game losing streak against the New York Giants on the road, though the game was anything but pretty. It's clear that winning is important in this business, even if you're not fighting for a playoff spot, as it boosts team and fan morale. But some people care more about draft position at the end of the season, and we understand that concern. The Commanders' roster needs a lot of reinforcements, and they only have 6 draft picks, with just 2 among the top 100, which is a limited number for a rebuild. The locker room secured a much-needed victory to rebound, while off-season plans took a hit after the team dropped 2 spots in the 2026 NFL draft order. The performance in the fall may or may not be enough to change the Commanders' plans, but they still have options and many tough decisions to make. The Commanders fell from 6th to 8th overall after their Week 15 victory, which is a significant impact. The last thing this team needed was a 12-game losing streak to end the season. And that was a real possibility had they not beaten the Giants, but they managed to pull it off, just barely. The Commanders were approaching the top 5 of the 2026 NFL Draft, but the victory dropped them to the 8th overall pick, considering the other Week 15 results. This means they will have fewer chances to grab elite talent, which leaves us a bit concerned for the future. The best option for the Commanders would be to trade their picks to acquire more players, and thus have a better chance of rebuilding the roster. Selecting only 6 players will likely result in 2 or 3 starters, with the rest waiting their turn, similar to the recent draft class, which is not ideal. Trading their picks would allow them to take more chances on players to address the many roster needs. However, falling in the draft order could change that plan, making it harder to find willing trade partners to move up from a lower position. The big question is, should the Commanders stay put and draft or trade down again? Regardless of where the Commanders select in the draft, they need someone willing to trade with them, and that is less likely with a higher pick. Therefore, they may have to hold their position if they end up with the 7th or 8th overall pick. The good news, however, is that a player like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love is likely to be available to them, regardless of the position. Yes, this likely means they wouldn't trade their position and risk losing an elite player, but they would still come away with a talented player, which is what matters most for the rebuild. The drop in quality after the Commanders' pick could be drastic enough not to justify a trade, and it's worth risking another situation like Chris Olave. Trading positions from the 4th or 5th overall pick is very different from trading from the 8th overall pick, as the value of available players changes drastically. The Commanders still have 3 tough games ahead this season, against the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, twice, with both teams having something at stake in their playoff aspirations. The position in which the Commanders are selected will have major implications for their actions in the draft, and we'll be keeping an eye on every result. Even if they are not picked among the top 5, some teams may still want to move up in the draft, or they could take advantage of the opportunity for a great elite player to be available. It's a game of chess, and we hope Adam Peters makes the right moves to ensure a bright future for the Commanders. My friends, after all these twists and turns with Coach Quinn's blood on the snow message, the decision on Jaden Daniels, and the impact of our victory on the 2026 draft, the big question remains: will the Commanders' front office, in light of the new draft position, choose to keep the pick and select a promising talent, or will they risk a trade to accumulate more picks, even at the risk of losing an elite player? Which strategy do you think would be the smartest to ensure the rebuilding of our team and take us back to the playoffs?